From starting out in the classroom as a high school teacher to going on to being the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of one of Kenya's biggest universities, this is the story of Professor Elizabeth Kalunda. She epitomizes what it means when you decide you mean business. Welcome to She Means Business. I am your host, Claire Munde.
I'm happy to be here today because I mean business.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you on because your story is a story of resilience. I mean, moving from here to there. And I think a lot of women can draw inspiration from it. But I think I'd like us to start from your WhatsApp status. There's a quote here by Mark Nepo, and it says, "The flower doesn't dream of the bee, it blossoms and the bee comes." And I think that's a very powerful quote there. Maybe you can tell us how that has applied in your professional life.
For you to be something, you don't have to struggle so much to be that thing. Look at the process. Get through the process, and whatever you want will be there for you. So I would want to resonate that to just my life. Yeah, I've been working so hard towards things that I want, meaning that I always have a focus. So what I normally look at is what do I want to be? And then I take a paper pen, I write, for me to be here, I need to do quite a number of things. So I get myself, roll my sleeves, do what I need to do, and at all times the bee or whatever I've wanted has always followed me.
There's something very powerful about writing something. It's one thing to have a goal, but then when you write it down, it just gives you that impetus to go for it. So I'd like you to just take us through your journey. How does one move from being a high school teacher to now being a Deputy Vice-Chancellor?
I was in Moi University, where I did a B.Ed or a Bachelor's in Education in Home Science and Technology. And you can imagine right now I'm an accountant. And I'm an accountant, not just crunching the numbers, but overseeing a very big function at USIU Africa University. Now, right when I was in high school, I was very good in mathematics. And I really admired business, the science and the maths that relate to businesses. So during our time, when it came to university placements, we really didn't have so much of an influence the way the current generation has. So we just wait, we get our letters, and then we go to the university. So all along, I'd wanted to be an accountant. I wanted to do BCom, but I was called to do Bachelor's of Education. So as the papers came, as the invitation letter came to the university, I didn't even know about you can change your courses. But still, right at the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to do mathematics. I wanted to do something to do with business. So when I went to high school, I just went through the process, did my Bachelor's of Education in Home Science and Technology. And then after I finished the university, I was posted in a high school. Now, when I went to this high school, it was in some deeper part of Eastern Kenya. I could teach. I love teaching. And I think that's a calling for me because I'm still in the space of teaching. But I could feel deep down inside me, this is not what I really wanted to do. So immediately I got married after college. I had my first child. Now, looking at the environment where I was bringing up my child and where I was brought up, I could see there's a mismatch. And I said, honestly, I need to bring up my kid in a life that was better than mine. So one thing I said is that I need to leave this place. And then the other question I asked myself is, other than just moving to a different environment, what do I want to do? So it was in my early years of the career, 2 years into the career, and then I said, no, this is not the career that I wanted. I wanted to do accounting. So I had two goals. One, to get a transfer from Machakos, the interior, to come to the city. And then once I get into the city, I wanted to do accounting. So I still had that goal. And I was very lucky that I was able to get a transfer to a school in Athi River. Athi River is very near Nairobi, so immediately I came to Athi River as a teacher teaching home science and technology. I enrolled for my CPA, Certified Public Accounting exams, and that is where my journey began. So I did the exams, and I would say since I had a very strong interest in accounting, I was also among the best students. I received an award for the best student in taxation, among the best students in auditing, and I think overall that section I was, I think, number 6 in the country. So that really gave me the motivation to do what I really wanted to do. I finished my CPA, and during that time, fortunately, TSC would recognize any other qualifications that you had. And I was lucky because in the area of accounting, the teachers who were teaching accounting were less. So I took my papers to TSC, I went through an interview, and I was told that other than teaching home science, I could also teach accounting. After 2 years, again, I decided to enroll for my master's. And I did my master's in administration, and I took the accounting option, still on my track.
Yeah.
So I continued. After that, I changed jobs. I started changing jobs because opportunities were there, especially for a woman doing accounting, a woman who is having a master's at that time. So I got quite some, I was able to change my jobs, and I found myself again in the university. All along, I was having the highest qualification. I have my master's, I have my CPA, which was really something so great at that time. But at the university, that were the entry requirements. So again, my dream to just get better, to become more focused in my area was still again revisited. So I did my PhD, Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration, and then I took the banking option because I felt like, let me not take accounting. I was so much into accounting, I decided, let me just expand my scope. One day I went for an interview. It was a very insightful interview, and for me I would say this is one of the interviews that changed my life. The interview was at the US Embassy. So this guy asked me, you are a lecturer, you are a professional in accounting, so so after this, what next? He asked me, what do you do for the profession? Why can't you take up leadership position at the profession? That time, it was a time there were campaigns around ICPAK, which at that time I could see it's very senior people I cannot be. So that actually planted a seed in me. Because the question was, why can't you lead? I told him, oh my, that is too big for me. I can't fit in those boots, but it planted a seed in me. Some years later now, I actually asked myself, why not try it? And here I am, I'm the vice chairman of ICPAK. I'm serving my second term as the vice chairman. I'm also serving my second term as a council member of ICPAK. Yeah, and you can imagine for ICPAK serving in this position, these 2 elections. Yes. And they are serious elections. You have to convince the people, you have to sell your value proposition. And that's how, I just came to be in this field that I really, really love a lot.
So I'd like you to talk a little bit about work-life balance, because you've talked about now going for your master's, doing your doctorate. This is intense stuff. Yes. So how were you managing going through your profession, going through your education, and at the same time raising your child? For women, it's that balancing act. You know, they talk about the motherhood penalty. Yes. Sometimes you want to do your career, you also want to raise your children, but in the mix, something has to give.
I was lucky because I had a very supportive husband. And fortunately, my husband is also an academician, so he appreciates the importance of education. By the time I was doing my CPAs, I had 1 child. But immediately I finished, I got my second child. So I have 2 children. So what happened was, one, I had a very good caretaker for the children. My mother-in-law would come once in a while to stay with me, and they would help in taking care of the children. And my husband was very supportive. Yeah, and also I thank God because my children were not problematic kids or children who have maybe diseases, so it was quite easy. But one thing I would really want to thank and to maybe I can share with the ladies out there is if you have a boss who understands your needs as a mother, a boss who understands your need in terms of career growth, that can really help. I had a boss at the school that I was teaching in the River. I had a principal who was called Mr. Mavindu. He was very, very helpful. He would allow me actually to leave maybe a few, maybe the last class, so that I get into the bus and go to have my classes. But again, for him to do that, you have to also do your work well. Yes. Otherwise, you cannot get these privileges or these favors if you are not doing your work well. So I was a good teacher. Let me say that I'm happy when I meet my students. They tell me they really enjoyed my classes. They are better people because of the values I was able to teach them. There are certain things that must happen because you're either a mother you are a wife. So let us not take this as burdens that we cannot handle. I believe God has given us that capacity to handle that together with our career growth. So for me, that is what I did. And maybe to just talk to the young girls or people in their early career, when it comes to the choice of your partner, do this very intentionally. Don't just choose a husband for the sake. Look at, you have similar values. Would he support you to just be the best that you can be?
Tell me, what has been one of your proudest moments, first of all, before we go to the low points in your career? You've achieved so much. What is one of those things that you're like, wow, wow?
During this time when I was so busy, I'm having my job, I'm running my family, that time especially having teenage kids who you really needed to take care of, I was able to be part of a group that started a farm. And this is a farm that is called Lofty Coban Investments Company. Now for me, that is one of the greatest achievements of my life. I was happy to be part of the shareholder directors in this farm. And just maybe briefly, this is a farm that deals with the money market. It's a registered farm under the Capital Market Authority, the RBA. During my life, all along I've been wanting to do something maybe more than, just being an employer other than being an employee. Because I would feel like, yeah, I've been employed, but look at the situations, we don't have jobs. Look at even myself, I have so much knowledge in finance, investment, so how can I put it into use? So when I got this team of friends who we had similar thoughts, we could trust each other, we could put our money together, we had the competencies that are needed. We were able to come up with a farm which was registered last year, and I'm so happy to say that actually 9 months after we had started business, we were able to gain the trust of people by having assets under management of over 1 billion. And for me, that was something amazing. If you do whatever you do competently, if you have enshrined issues of ethics with you, when you go out and sell a product, people will buy it because they believe you, because they know that they can trust you. And again, looking at your competencies, they are actually sure that you have the capacity to do the job that you're promising to do. So I think for me, that was the greatest achievement in my life, just starting up a farm that is out there doing business ethically and growing.
What is that moment that you had, whether it's in your professional life or your personal life, that just was a low moment and you had to really gather yourself up and say, you know what, we have to keep it moving?
Sometimes as you grow in your career, you can have expectations that maybe are maybe a bit too big, that you can handle, or you feel that you can handle. And then when you try to sell your idea maybe to your friends, they tell you that this is not possible. And that becomes quite unfortunate to someone, because you might be thinking this person will support me and all that. So maybe not without even divulging the details of that, is that one, whenever you grow, there will always be people who will tell you you cannot make it. You need to learn how to discern. Whenever you have dreams, just know who to tell. In the story of Joseph, you know what, he was an interesting guy, very young guy, telling his brothers the way he dreamt, the way he'll do this. And it's the brothers who went to sell him. So that for me tells me, know who to tell your story. Because sometimes you can really get stabbed, but despite that, you must always rise. But pick the lessons around that.
Wow. That's so powerful. As you grow, your circle of friends can start becoming smaller. So really being discerning and to know who to tell your plans and who not to tell, because there are people who you thought will be cheering you on, and they're the ones who are trying to kill your dreams. So I think that's very powerful. There are people who are feeling stuck. They're feeling like, how do I just move? What piece of advice would you leave them with as an encouragement that you can actually shift your life and live your best life, basically?
Be happy for those who are achieving. Be happy when you see someone progressing, because I've seen that kind of energy where you celebrate other people's wins. It also attracts similar energy. So for me, what I would say here is, for the young ladies or just the women out there, there are so many opportunities that are out there for you. But for you to really get those opportunities to be, to favor your life or your career, you must actually be very intentional. As we started, I like the way it's ending just the way we started. Have a pen and paper. Put it down in writing. What would you want to be? What would you want to do? And then now come up with a roadmap. How would I get there? It's important if you can have a mentor, because mentors are actually very strong pillars in anybody's career growth. I have mentors and they keep changing depending on my various needs, but I'd actually say that where I am now, it is out of just having or tapping from the wisdom of the mentors that I have. There are even professional mentors out there. And even those mentors you can follow behind the scene, where I don't know you, but I like what you are doing, so I'm following what you're doing. Maybe I'm listening to your stories. You get to, you can now emulate that life, and you'll be where you want.
Everybody get that pen, get that paper, or use your mobile phone. Start documenting what are those dreams that you have. Dream wild. And then now set the goals and go for them. This has been She Means Business. I have been your host, Claire Munde. Until next time, have a good one.